Hey, welcome in another edition of that SEC podcast. We got the rankings reveal coming up in just a minute. And after that comes out, we're going to be joined by Stephen Lassan to share his thoughts on the Week 12 college football playoff projections. Everybody just wants to talk about Nico. But hey, I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek of what the rankings are likely going to look like. Shout out Dave Bartu, Adam McClintock, CFB professor. They nail these rankings every week, almost to a T. And as long as they've been doing this for like 10 years. They have got the Final Four right every single time. And I compared what they put out last week to the actual results. It was very, very, very close. So this is what Dave Bartu and Adam McClintock, the CFB professor, have. It's going to be revealed here in just a couple of minutes. But according to their model, and they believe they have the committee's methodology down packed. They got Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4, Indiana 5. So 4 of the top 5 right now. Indiana, according to their model, which we'll test it here in just a second. Miami 6, Tennessee 7, Notre Dame 8, BYU 9, Alabama 10, Ole Miss 11, Georgia 12, SMU 13, Texas A&M 14, and Boise 15. So Boise takes a little bit of a tumble, but that's what they project it'll be. So I imagine it's going to be very similar to that. Beachy Cowboy, he's saying, what is the prediction for Ole Miss? I just shared it. So Ole Miss, 11. Ole Miss will probably be 11. And the way Bartu and Adam McClintock do this, if it's not 11, it'll be 10 or 12. They either nail it or they get one off. So we got the rank. Man, I wish these damn basketball games, if this goes into overtime, I'm going to be pissed. But right now, it's not in overtime. There's 2 minutes, 30 seconds left before they get to this. But no news on Nico. I know everybody wants to talk about Nico right now, but the Bear says he's not playing. But take that for what it's worth. I don't think the Bear knows. Damn it. Why do they even have basketball during football season? I can't handle it. Anthony says parity can't hurt the SEC. We are college football. I agree with that. And again, these are not my rankings. This is the committee's, but they're going to be revealed here any moment. But I will be interested to see, where is South Carolina? Are they in the poll? They deserve to be. Hell, they should have been in last week. Another impressive performance. We got to put the Gamecocks in there. Does Missouri rise after a near defeat, but a win? And as Drake likes to say, they dock us points, move us down the rankings for a win. Does Missouri move down? Certainly not. But who knows with this damn committee? Who knows? Fire away with some questions before we get to this. We got two minutes left in this stupid basketball game before we get to the rankings reveal. And they'll probably take like a 5-minute commercial break as well, because that's what they do. This is on ESPN. But anything you guys got for me? Again, A&M projected to be number 14, Texas 3, Tennessee 7, Alabama 10, Ole Miss 11, Georgia 12. So those are the SEC teams in the top 15 projected. We're about to find out here in a minute if that's actually where it's going to be. But Gary says Longhorns going to be out of the rankings when they leave Kyle Field. They're not going to be out of the rankings, but they may be out of the playoff if they lose at 10-2. Believe just depends on how many other 10-2s are and things of that nature. But it's not looking good for Texas. Of course, hell, they're about to be number 3 in the rankings. So how far can they really fall? I don't know. Drew says, will Texas fall before meeting A&M? To throw up their schedule at Arkansas and Kentucky. It's unlikely, but this is the season of unlikely results. So wouldn't be a stunner if that actually happened. Dalton says BK might actually be Burger King the way he's getting flamed lately. What a pud. What a comment there from Dalton. Yeah, BK have it your way. He's not giving it the way LSU fans want it right now. Not by getting mud stomped by Alabama. That was awful, wasn't it? Hey, thank goodness this damn basketball game just ended. So now we're looking at the highlights for some reason. Turn this garbage off. Anthony says, Vols look good even if they lose to Georgia. Agree or not? Unfortunately not, Anthony. And I'll tell you why. Because, again, this isn't my model or anything, but they nail it every damn time. This is what the committee looks at. Strength of schedule, quality wins, top 25 wins, game control, and bad losses. And Tennessee's strength of schedule is in the 100s. Quality wins, they have 1. Top 25 wins, they have 1. They are pretty good in game control. They're like 6th or 7th in the country. So that's solid, and they have no bad losses. But their strength of schedule is killing them, and their quality wins, top 25 wins, is killing them. So Tennessee is not looking great with a loss. But again, we're all looking at this like Alabama's going to win out, like A&M's going to win out, like Texas is going to win out, like all these teams are going to win out. I know Texas and Texas A&M, that's a bad example because they play each other. But everybody right now that's at 10, projected to be 10-2, they're probably not going to all be there. So all it's going to take is a Notre Dame upset, an Alabama upset, and Tennessee's in. So, it's hard to answer that question, but does Tennessee look good? They're putting it in the committee's hands, I think, if they lose, which is not where you want to be. Big money. I've lost 22 pounds on the elliptical watching your podcast this fall. Good. Good for you, big money. Sounds like my ass needs to be doing this show on the elliptical. Maybe I'd lose some weight if I did that, but that's awesome. Congratulations, big money. Maybe we got to get Cousin Shane one too. Scott Turner, Bama has all of it, Mike, if they win out. Yeah, Bama's in. Bama's in, provided they win out. Because here's, again, we'll go back to those metrics. Alabama's kicking ass in these metrics. They are number 3 in the country in strength of schedule. Now, that will take a little bit of a hit because they got Auburn and Oklahoma and Mercer coming up. But it's not going to take a drastic hit. Quality wins, Alabama, believe it or not, it's got 6 quality wins, 3 top 25 wins. Those metrics are really helping the Crimson Tide right now. Damn it, I thought this game was over. Now there's 36 seconds left. God, no one cares about this. Get this shit over with here. Any other questions here? Can we get this? Green Wave says Vols strength of schedule is 35th. Not according to what I'm looking at here. They're 107th strength of schedule. And this is the playoff committee's strength of schedule. Not, I don't know where you're getting this 35th, but is not the committee's strength of schedule. That's the important bit there. Again, this is the committee that's doing all this shit. Not me. This is the committee. So, Cameron, have they started the show? No, we got 29 seconds left of this basketball game, and as soon as it's over, they're going to start it. Now, Gary says Tennessee is 41th. See that? Here's the deal. Gary says one thing, Green Wave says something. I mean, I don't know the fact that you guys can't even agree on the number. I don't know. What I have here, 107th for Tennessee. So, What's in the cup, Mike? Just water. Back-to-back shows. I can't handle any booze if I'm going to do back-to-back shows. If this is a one-off, maybe I would drink something a little bit stronger. But I got to wake up. I got an interview in the morning. We're going to have shout out. Well, maybe I'll just leave it a surprise. Green Wave says he's looking at FPI. Don't ever trust FPI. It's worthless. Here, anybody that ever cites FPI, I love to share this. You remember 2019 LSU? I think it's the greatest team in college football history, at least modern history, which is all I really care about. LSU went 15-0, beat the hell out of Clemson in the national championship game. Clemson beat Ohio State in the semifinal. LSU beat Oklahoma by about 50 points in the semifinal. FPI had LSU. This is not regular season. This is at 15-0, LSU, number 3. They had Ohio State and Clemson. I think it was Clemson 1, Ohio State 2, LSU number 3. So don't ever come at me with FPI is fucking worthless. It's garbage. Where the committee ranks Indiana will tell us a lot, Gary. Here's where they'll have them, according to Bar 2. They're going to have them 5th. Indiana 5th right now. And they're, according to their metrics here, they're virtually the same as Tennessee. Their strength of schedule is 108th, and they have one quality win. They do not have a top 25 win. So Tennessee's got a better resume, according to the committee, what they look at. Indiana's better, or excuse me, Tennessee's better than Indiana, but Indiana does not have a loss yet. So probably need Indiana to get their ass kicked to get them out of here. Oh, Lord, 16. This is why I hate basketball. I mean, we've been on here for over 10 minutes, and they haven't gone 30 seconds yet in the damn game. What, Joe? Appreciate you, Joe. What's A&M's strength of schedule? A&M, according to the committee, strength of schedule, 14th. So very, very strong. A&M is looking good on strength of schedule, and that's going to help them right there. Pamela says South Carolina better be top 20. I agree. They should be. I don't know if they will be. McLean, where do you think A&M will be? A&M 14 is what the model says. 14th. So, Green Wave, no model can be 100%. Upsets do happen. That's absolutely true. But that's the beauty of this model that I'm looking at here. It's not projecting ahead. It's just projecting where things are today. So that's absolutely true. I mean, there's no way to tell who's going to be where at the end of the season. That's why they're 100% accurate at the end, picking the final 4 and hopefully the final 12, because all the data's already in, if that makes sense. So there's no more guessing. Right now, we're still kind of guessing of where things will be because nobody knows. Brett, Ole Miss, where's Ole Miss? Ole Miss, 11th is where the model says they'll be. So they'll be right around 10, 11, 12. Gamecocks, don't have a number for the Gamecocks. This only goes up to 15. I don't have strength of schedule for South Carolina either. Oh, sorry. I only have the top 15. That's all they have. So South Carolina's got some work to do. LSU, it says Big Rouge. Nope. LSU's not in the top 15. So I only have the top 15 projected rankings. Again, this is all courtesy Dave Bartu, Adam McClintock. So, all right, this stupid basketball game's over. Let's get to it, boys. Prediction for Kentucky Duke. My prediction is I will not be watching that garbage. Brodo, where is Georgia? Georgia, 12th. So you'd think that's still in the field, right? But Boise is 15. They're the highest G5. So Georgia, at least by this model, is not going to be predicted to be in the playoff field when these rankings are about to be released here any minute. So if I'm Kirby, I'm thrilled with that. You could pitch to your team. You're not in it. Tennessee is. Go take it. With or without Nico. Whoa, says how many SEC teams get in? Worst record for an SEC team that gets it. Worst record, probably 10-2. How many teams get in? Probably 4. Drew says, where is Steven? Steven is waiting for the rankings to come out. He's got to do some work for Athlon. As soon as they come out, he's going to post an article, and then he's going to run on and jump on and give us his feedback here. Joey says, Texas' best win is Vanderbilt. That is true. That is absolutely true. Gary says, Indiana has played one team above 500. I wouldn't doubt it. They only have one quality win, and they do not have a top 25 win. So they better win out for their sake. I hope they lose out for the SEC's sake. Good Lord, now they're doing interviews. Get these losers off the field here. Let's get to this committee here. Christopher, if Vandy pulls out a win in Death Valley in 2 weeks, does Tennessee get in even with a loss? I don't know that would have. I think that would help Alabama because they beat They lost to Vanderbilt. So any gain from Tennessee would also be a gain from Alabama. So I don't know if that really helps them. All right, here we go. We got the show coming. College football playoff reveal. Taking all day. They're milking this thing as they always do. Let's look at these pasty bastards sitting behind a computer. That's what we're here for. Don't give us the rankings after making us wait for 15 minutes. Oh, God, I knew it. They're going to take a commercial break. So I guess I'm your commercial break. Fire away with any other questions you got. Joe T, what is A&M's best win? A&M's got, they have 4 quality wins. And you may be asking, what the hell is a quality win? Quality win is a win over any team. Doesn't matter if it's SEC, if it's G5, doesn't matter. A win over a team that has a winning record is a quality win. Now, don't confuse that with a top 25 win. Those are even more valuable. But A&M's got 2 top 25 wins. So A&M's got a decent resume here. A&M has beaten, let's see, Mizzou. Mizzou is a quality win. They're ranked. And LSU. Those are their 2 big wins right there for A&M. And Arkansas, if they win out, that would be a nice a nice win for A&M as well. They really need to beat Texas. Texas would be, punch their ticket in. That'd be a top 25 win, a quality win here. Caleb says, what's South Carolina's margin of victory have to be a case for the playoff? I mean, I just say keep whooping everybody's ass, and you can't be denied. But unfortunately, that's not the way the committee really works. So I've been saying it. I think they should be in. If they whoop everybody's 6 consecutive blowouts, I don't know how you deny a team like that. But there's not really a way to answer that. I don't know. I don't think the committee takes into account any of that. But I think they should. I think it's foolish if they don't. Wants to know who's the heaviest drinking SEC fan base? Easy. And they were drinking a lot on Saturday night, if that gives you a hint. It's them LSU Tigers. They drink towns dry. And I can only imagine the alcohol consumption in Tiger Stadium when Alabama went in there and whooped their ass. All right, we're still on commercial, of course. Brett, are quality wins only against FBS teams? I believe so. So FCS does not count. Just FBS. Quality win. Can you Wes says, can you say Disney ESPN spin machine? Definitely. Ethan, should Arkansas fire Sam Pittman? No. And I'll tell you why. Because again, I guarantee you're not happy with where your program is right now, but it has taken a giant step forward this year. And I think that should count for something. And last year was a travesty because he hired Dan Enos, and I'm not saying we sit here and excuse that, but he saw it right away, fired his ass, and hired Bobby Petrino. And I'd say right now Sam Pittman's got 2 really good coordinators, and as long as he's got 2 good coordinators, they're working with something down there in Arkansas. And just because you fire him, there's no guarantees you're gonna get better. I think they could be even better next year. So I hope Sam Pittman's back. He's one of my favorites here. Over under LSU take a transfer quarterback next year. I think, yeah, I mean, we're assuming Nussmeier goes pro, right? I think, or is he out of eligibility? But they better win. So I would imagine they will take one. I know they got the freshman committed, but he's not there yet. Okay, here we go. Committee. Let's speed this. Let's see how long they can stretch this shit out. Oh, Lord. Now they're doing an explainer. Yep, we know how the playoff works. We did this last week, boys. Let's give it to us. Okay, here we go. Here's the reveal. Number 25. Tulane? What the hell? Didn't even know they had a football team. They do have a good coach, though, John Summerall. He's going to be Kentucky's coach next year. Army. What? Army's number 24. I mean, this is already a joke. Army, well, they are. It was just Veteran Day. Okay, I get it. Let's give Army their due. It was Veteran Day. Mizzou just jumped up to 23. There you go, first SEC. So Mizzou did jump up a spot after beating Oklahoma. Good for them. LSU, oh Lord, they took a tumble. 22 for LSU. They were 15 last week, so that's down 7 spots. Ooh, South Carolina makes their debut, 21. I like that. I mean, I would have liked it if they were even higher, but we got South Carolina, number 21. Good for them. Getting in they should have been ranked last year or last week, you cowards. Let's see how many more SEC teams we can get in here. Never enough, in my opinion. And they're whooping ass here, but credit them for putting, Clemson, Clemson's number 20, which that would be another ranked win potentially for South Carolina. So you got Missouri this week. You got Clemson coming up. 19, Louisville. Get the hell out of here. It's going to be a quality loss for Kentucky, at least. We can say that. Who's number 18? Washington State. Rest in peace, Pirate. You are missed. But your team's kicking ass, your old team here, Washington State. That's pretty wild, isn't it? Colorado 17. They love Dion, don't they? Old Dion. I mean, he's done a good job this year, I guess. I don't watch that garbage, but apparently they got a good record. They've not crippled anyone in this season, so that's good. Kansas State, 16. Really dragging this thing out here. That was where Ole Miss was last week, so you know Ole Miss taking a big step up in the rankings. Got Kansas State, number 16. I think Ole Miss is going to be in the top in the bracket this week. Okay, boys, let's go. 15. A&M, oh, God, they dropped A&M. What the hell are we doing here? Coming off a bye, A&M dropped the spot. Do not agree with that. But again, you got 2 conference games left. You can still get to the SEC championship. 15th is not horrible, but again, I don't agree with dropping them because they didn't play. Okay, give us 14. Come on now. SMU. God. SMU over to A&M. What in the hell are we doing? All right. They got Boise back in here at 12. That's where Boise was last week, so no change there for Boise. Yep, Georgia, first team out. So they're technically 12th. You would think that's in, right? But again, because of Boise's in there, Georgia is technically out. And again, that's going to be right. Georgia went from 2 to 13. How stupid is that? But I don't think Kirby's mad about it at all. Honestly, I think he's going to be damn thrilled with that because he's going to be able to sell to his team this all week. We got to play our way back in. And the only way we do that, we whoop Tennessee's ass this week. This is the last marquee game we got. I know they got Georgia Tech, but that's not a marquee game. Come on. Tennessee's a marquee game for them now. So Georgia is the top team on the bubble right now. They are really dragging this thing out here. Ole Miss, number 11. So they're in the field. That's where Ole Miss, or excuse me, Alabama was last week. So Ole Miss opening on the road right now in this projected playoff at number 11. It's a nice jump. I would have liked to seen a little bit bigger jump. Just whoop Georgia's ass, who they had number 2 last week. So you beat number 2, you're number 11. I don't know if that really makes sense, but it is what it is. Yep. Okay, come on. Number 10, Alabama. So Alabama would also open first round on the road. They want to see SEC lose. They don't, come on. All these SEC should be home games for all these, I feel like. But Alabama moved up a spot. Last week they were number 11. Now they're number 10 after destroying LSU. It's pretty interesting. Number 9, Miami. But because they're projected ACC champ, they give them the 4 seed. It's another reason this playoff is kind of stupid. But yeah, so Miami's 4 seed, but ranked number 9. God, they don't even have their own stadium. That's the Dolphins stadium. Come on. We can't. Well, it wouldn't be a home game for them. All right, Notre Dame, number 9. That's where we need this team to lose if we're SEC, because they won't have the resume if they drop one more. Yet ESPN loves them, giving them. Tennessee. So Tennessee remains the same at the 8 seed. Notre Dame at Tennessee, round 1, according to the updated projections. That'd be an easy win for Tennessee, I would think. Even if Nico is not even playing because of concussion, Tennessee would cruise there. But right now, so they've got 3 SEC teams, and of course the SEC champ. They haven't got to that yet, which I assume would be Texas projected. BYU, they're giving them the 3 seed. Barely beat Utah. Yeah, let's give them right to the second round of the playoff. That makes sense. I mean, why not? Why not? I mean, I could think of about 20 reasons why not, but they're going to do it. So that means Texas will probably go to the 2 seed. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I appreciate it from the Last Dawn. Yeah, how is Tennessee not projected? That is kind of interesting. I mean, they have a better conference record than Texas right now, but I think it's all about the ranking. So the highest ranked conference champ, and no one is obviously got a spot locked up. Indiana, number 5. I believe that's. Well, no, wait. They're number 5. Wait, this is so confusing. They're 5, but they're seeded 7th. They're going to face, Alabama. We're just gift wrapping Alabama path to the second round. So so we'd have Alabama at Indiana in the first round of the playoff. What's the spread there? Like 28? I bet you Alabama fans will sign up for that today. Let's march on. Is Indiana? What do you think their capacity of their stadium is? It's got to be like 40,000 if I had to guess. I have no idea, but that's it's going to be like an Alabama spring game. Alabama's used to that. Well, hell, Alabama gets more than that in a spring game. Okay, give us the next one. Penn State. So, rematch here of the bowl game last year. Ole Miss at Penn State in the first round. James Franklin can't win a big game to save his life. Lane Kiffin couldn't until last week. So, edge Ole Miss there. I'm loving these matchups, though, for the SEC. Tennessee hosting Notre Dame. Ole Miss beating the hell out of Penn State. And Alabama beating the hell out of Indiana. And again, Texas is the 2 seed. Even though they're ranked number 3, they're the 2 seed. So that means Ohio State will be the 5th seed. And Oregon will be the 1 seed. If I have that right. So I think I do. And we'll have a little graphic here. And playoff reveal 2. So this is almost exactly what we said at the top of the show here, I believe. Maybe minus 1 or 2. But so here's our playoff field. Again, we got Missouri in here at 23. Got LSU at 22. South Carolina makes their debut at 21. Texas A&M drop. How in the hell they dropped? They didn't even play anybody. Doesn't make any sense. But they dropped to 15. Georgia is now officially on the bubble. Last team out at number 13. We got Tennessee hosting Notre Dame, 8-9 matchup. Tennessee 8, Notre Dame 9. We got Penn State 6 hosting number 11 Ole Miss. Indiana number 7 hosting Alabama number 10. And then Texas is the projected SEC champ. They get the 2 seed. So, I don't mind this. Got 4 SEC teams in there. Probably should be. I mean, look at that. Big Ten. 1, 2, 4, 5. That's literally exactly what we just told you would happen. I mean, don't ever question Dave Bartu with the CFB matrix. I mean, they know exactly what they are doing over there. But and now we wait for Steven to hop on here. But any surprises here? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people in the comments pissed off Texas. I'm not surprised by that. I mean, if you're seeded number 3 overall, you're going to get that edge. You could debate it. Yeah, I mean, it could be Tennessee over them, but could be. I guess that's the only debate you could possibly have there when it comes to SEC seeding. But it's pretty interesting. They're saying Indiana Stadium holds 53,000. Oh, okay, there you go. That's so it's about Vanderbilt size. We'll give them that. That's awesome. Gary says, I'm surprised Tennessee didn't move at all. Won a conference game with a backup quarterback. Yeah, I don't think they look at that. What they look at, and again, I'm not a genius. This is people that are much smarter than me. They look at strength of schedule, quality wins, top 25 wins, game control, and bad losses. So that's how we get to where we're at right now. But again, I love to see South Carolina in there. Love to see Missouri's moved up, even after a narrow win. Drink was afraid they'd move out. Yeah, I don't see Oklahoma. So people are asking, where's Oklahoma? They might be in the FCS playoff. But how about round 2 matchups that would be most excited to see? We could possibly get an all-SEC showdown, Alabama-Texas. I think that would be in the Sugar Bowl. That would be a hell of a matchup. Ole Miss, BYU. Yeah, Ole Miss just walking right into the semifinals. Tennessee, Notre Dame. Tennessee, Oregon. That'd be fun. And Ohio State, Miami. That would also be fun. Joe, if Tennessee loses to Georgia, how far do they drop? I hate to say it. I think they would drop quite a bit, maybe like 15 or something like that. So I think they'd be out. It doesn't mean they're eliminated, but I think they'd be out, given that the committee does not love Tennessee. And it's the same. It's not biased, believe it or not. It's strength of schedule. Their strength of schedule is awful. They have one quality win, one top 25 win. These are the things they're looking at. So Tennessee is not good in those metrics right now. So that you just gotta keep winning. That's all you can do if you're Tennessee, and you can't be denied. You win on Saturday, Georgia, you lock it up, unless you somehow lose to UTEP, and probably, I think even if you lose to Vanderbilt, which would be inconceivable, I would think, if you can beat Georgia, but even if you lose to Vanderbilt, you'd be in, because you'd have wins over Alabama, you'd have wins over Georgia. You're a lock, as long as you don't lose to UTEP. I don't know anything about UTEP, but surely to God, they're not that good. Hey, how about the legend, JR? He's back. Round 2 tonight. Appreciate you, JR. Volcano, maybe he was feeling bad for you, Volcano. He just gifted you a membership. Welcome to the family, Volcano. But, yes, Naomi, yes, here it is. This is the official playoff rankings. They just revealed it right now. We've got Oregon 1, Texas 2, BYU 3, Miami 4. We got Ohio State 5. They would host Boise in the first round. Penn State 6. They would host number 11 Ole Miss. Indiana 7. They would host number 10 Alabama. In Tennessee, getting a home game against Notre Dame. That would be your first round of the college football playoff, and that'd be pretty damn awesome if you ask me. And I think the SEC would be favored to have 3 teams march on to the second round of the playoff. And I'm trying to think, Tennessee, Oregon would probably be favored, but Ole Miss, BYU, Ole Miss would be favored, and then obviously Alabama, Texas, SEC team would have to move on. So there's a potential. God, could you imagine the beauty if we had 3 of the Final 4 were all SEC? 3 or 4. All it would take would be a Tennessee upset over Oregon. And it may not even be an upset. Who knows? Oregon may drop a game or 2 here to close out, and we'll see what it looks like then. But I think this again, people are wondering why. Why does the committee love Alabama? I'll tell you why. See this list here, the bubble teams. Georgia, number 13. South Carolina, number 21. LSU, number 22. Missouri, number 23. What do they all have in common? Alabama beat them. So that is really helping Alabama right now. It's really helping them. And unless Alabama loses, maybe to Mercer, unless they lose at Oklahoma or Auburn at home, and those may be 2 of the 3 worst coaches in the SEC, and probably 2 of the 3 worst quarterbacks in the SEC at Oklahoma and Auburn. It's tough to envision Alabama losing any of these games. But, again, it's been a wild season, so anything could happen. We can't write it off just yet. Hey, Brandon, I appreciate you. Can we lock this bracket in right now? I'm telling you, if you're an Ole Miss fan, if you're an Alabama fan, I would love this. Because Ole Miss probably beats Penn State by 20. They probably beat BYU by 28. And then we're in the semifinals. Oh, man. How sweet would that be? After people bearing you, telling you your coach sucks and NILs was a waste of money and yada, yada, yada. Imagine being the lowest of lows, losing to Kentucky at home. Kentucky's awful. And then somehow let's say you went in a coma because you were so down in the dumps. You hit your head as soon as you got home or got back to your truck, whatever, after the game. You were so enraged. And then they wake you up on January 9th and they say, hey, buddy, we're in the semifinals. We're about to go to the national championship. And you'd say, well, how in the hell did that happen? We just lost to Kentucky. I don't know if Steven's going to jump on here. He may be too busy. We may have teased something that is not going to happen. I'll give him another couple of minutes here. But So here it is. Here's the official. Anyone else? I mean, Ole Miss got to be feeling it. They're loving it. Anyone else? Um, any questions about any of this? I was hoping to get Steven to kind of share his thoughts on some of these teams outside of the SEC, because quite frankly, I don't know much about those. But again, I love the matchup. Again, I get it. Indiana, people just keep disrespecting them, waiting for them to lose. Maybe that's not an easy out. But there's no way in hell you can convince me that Indiana's got someone that can defend Jalen Milroe right now. And even if I'm Georgia right now, I'm on the bubble at 13. I'm A&M. I'm number 15. Here's the beauty of it. You're playing teams that are in. So all you got to do is beat those teams. Georgia's in if they beat Tennessee and finish out the rest. A&M, you're in if you beat Texas. You're in. So I'm feeling great right now if I'm 6 SEC teams because we're in it. And now that South Carolina is ranked, maybe we can eliminate them. We cannot, because they got Missouri coming up. Now, of course, if they beat them too bad, they might knock them out of the rankings. But South Carolina's ranked. That's you got your 2 quality wins coming up potentially. And you've got that. You beat number 15. You beat them soundly. So, I'm just saying, South Carolina may not be done. I'm telling you. Oh, buddy. Going on about 45 minutes here. I'm about out of words. So I think I'm going to call this one, unless anybody else got a question, comment, concern, just wants to talk that talk. Gary, I don't know when this was. I'm just now seeing it. Tell that to FSU. I'm sure he's talking about them getting left out of the playoff, but who the hell cares about FSU? I like this one. West Texas Aggie. Wonder what Texas is going to drop to after November 30th. Texas loses. I think they're right where Georgia is. Georgia was right where Texas is today. They lost one game. They're out. I think that'd be Texas. Fire Bill. Mike, what if South Carolina loses to Missouri? Then Missouri should be in the top 15 minimum. Of course, A&M's got to keep A&M ahead of you. So, Missouri, you need to beat South Carolina, and I think you got to beat them soundly. And you got to hope Arkansas beats Texas. Maybe that could knock Texas out as well. That would make your final game against Arkansas more quality as well. And if you're Missouri, you probably need Texas. Or you need Auburn to beat A&M. That's how you jump A&M. Is if Auburn beats A&M. That would be my. Hey, here he is. We about gave up on you, Stephen. I know you're a busy man, but the playoff reveal just came through. Appreciate you stopping by for a quick chat.
Yeah, what's good, my friend? It's good to be with you. What a interesting set of rankings. I was a little surprised to see a couple things. Obviously the Big Ten dominated at the top, but I guess what's the anger level in the SEC right now with some of these rankings?
We've got people, Stephen, they're wanting to lock in these rankings right now because you tell me if I'm wrong. Ole Miss would probably be favored over Penn State because the way I'm saying it is James Franklin can't win a big game to save his life. And meanwhile, Lane Kiffin, that's kind of been his tag, but heck, he just did it, and we know his other big win was over said James Franklin. So I think Ole Miss is sitting pretty, and I think Alabama's sitting pretty. As good as Indiana has been, I can't imagine they've got anyone that can defend Jalen Milroe.
I would agree with that. If that's the matchups that we end up with, I like both of those SEC teams. I hate to kind of go a little bit of bad things here for the SEC, Mike, but it's a little weird that Indiana jumped Tennessee, isn't it? I mean, Indiana had a good win over Michigan, but there was nothing about the Mississippi State game that would say, I mean, frankly, if you want to kind of step aside, if you're the committee, I mean, Indiana was favored by double digits over Michigan and struggled to put them away. Tennessee had its backup quarterback playing against Mississippi State. So, I mean, it's hard to evaluate. There's nothing that I saw in that game that would make me want to jump Indiana over Tennessee, right? It seems kind of strange.
Right. I didn't even think about that. What about any thoughts on A&M? I know it's not a big deal, but they actually did drop A&M during a bye. A&M was 14th. Now they're 15th. But I kind of think that's, again, you want to be rising, obviously, but I don't think that'll kill them because if you beat Texas, you're jumping in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Texas A&M dropped a spot because Ole Miss moved up. I think
Gotcha.
that's probably what happened there. I think the interesting thing here, Mike. There's one other kind of angle that I see tonight is that the committee is inconsistent because on one hand they have South Carolina ahead of LSU. They just played a few weeks ago and LSU won. But at the same time, they have Kansas State over Colorado. They just played a few weeks ago and Kansas State won. So to find
Mm.
the inconsistency there is a little concerning to me. But I think what's interesting about these SEC teams is they're all like everything is in play for all of these teams. Like nobody should feel great about their standing because of some of the matchups still to play. Texas gets Texas A&M. Alabama still has to go through Auburn. Ole Miss still has to go to Florida. There's so many data points still to come that it with this way this season is going, I don't know that we should assume that the most easiest path is going to happen. But to answer your question on A&M, I think everything is in front of them. If they beat Texas, I think they're going to be in the playoff, and I think they probably will be in the SEC championship game, assuming they beat Auburn as well.
Yeah, and shout out to cousin Pamela, Stephen. You must have forgot the refs won that game, not LSU. So maybe the committee's factoring in that. It's good to see. Or appreciate your West Texas Aggie. He wants to know what's Texas strength of schedule. Texas strength of schedule, according to what the committee looks at, Stephen, is 73. So not great compared to A&M strength of schedule is 14th. So A&M's got them there. But it was good to see South Carolina make that debut.
Yeah.
21. And again, but here's the thing, Stephen. I said this before you hopped on. I don't know if you've considered this. What do Missouri, LSU, South Carolina, and Georgia, besides all being ranked and all being on the bubble, do you know what they all have in common?
Hit me with it.
They've all been beaten by Alabama.
Yeah.
So that is tremendously helping Alabama right now because they have all these ranked wins and quality wins over 4 teams that are on the bubble essentially, and that is going to essentially guarantee Alabama's making this playoff, barring them losing to Mercer, Auburn, or Oklahoma.
The other thing that could come into play here, and I think this is kind of why I don't think any team should feel good at this point, is if you're Alabama, what happens if South Carolina clobbers Missouri and they drop out of the rankings? What happens if Clemson beats South Carolina? I don't
Ooh.
think we're going to have like wholesale changes at the back of the rankings, but the committee could drop some of these teams out depending on what happens at the back. I mean, like Arizona State's kind of hovering around the top 25. They get Kansas State this week. I guess what I'm getting at is like the data points in these things could change, but I think if you're Alabama, like that is the argument. Like, yes, you've lost to Tennessee, you've lost to Vanderbilt. Same thing for Georgia. Like your strength of schedule, if you can get to 2 losses, and you're going to be in pretty good shape to make the playoff, I think.
And here I thought I was the Alabama hater. Way to go, Stephen. Yeah, you're exactly right. I should, again, these are all what ifs, and there's a lot of football to be played. But excellent point. What if Missouri is no longer ranked, and it doesn't have to be South Carolina. I mean, in this exactly what you said makes sense. But also Missouri could lose to Arkansas. Or that'll knock them out too. If South Carolina loses to Clemson, that'll probably knock them out unless South Carolina climbs really high. What if? And again, this is a big what if. What if Tennessee beats Georgia? I don't think Georgia would completely fall out, but if Georgia Tech also beat Georgia, they certainly would fall out. Again, those are 2 big what ifs. But if all that happened, then suddenly Alabama's got no ranked wins. So
Yeah.
So then then we could have a scenario where Alabama is not making the playoff. I really do think even at 10-2, if they have no ranked wins, all of a sudden that resume. So needless to say, there's several weeks to play and a lot can change. That's kind of the whole point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, none of these rankings, as frustrating as I am right now, and I promised I wouldn't get my blood pressure up over these, but the fact that they've been inconsistent with head to head, and some of the other things that you see in the rankings, I think South Carolina should have been ranked last week. It's good to see them this week. They might even be underranked still at 21 this week, but there's so many data points still to come. 3 full weeks of games plus the championship Saturdays. It tells me that we're still in for a lot of changes. Now, on the flip side of that, the fact that Texas, the resume for Texas is, there's not a lot of top 25 wins on it. The strength of schedule isn't there, but they're third. And that tells me also that the committee is going to look at, I know everybody hates this word, the eye test at some point. So for all the data, for all the top 25 wins, for the metrics, strength of schedule, the coaches on the committee will have their say. And that I think works well for some of these SEC teams. But that also, when you start looking at these scenarios, there's still a ton to play, and there's still a ton at stake for all these SEC teams. So I would not assume that this is the order they end up in by any means.
Yeah, and could you tell me just off the top of your head, do you know what Michigan's record is, or do they have a winning record? Is what I'm really want to know.
They are 5-5.
Okay.
They still have to play Ohio State, so likely to
Ooh,
be 6-6 because they get Northwestern, I believe, next week.
gotcha. So if you're a Texas fan, you better be hoping and praying they beat Northwestern, because if they don't, that's a 5-7, and you no longer get credited for a quality win. So I mean, these are the things you got to factor in. I'm looking at Oklahoma, very unlikely they're going to have a winning record, but they currently are at 500. So, that's going to hurt you too. Florida is currently 4-5. This is what the playoff has given us, Stephen. All these crazy, what ifs and watching this game, watching that game. So, again, there's a lot to be determined. But real quick, I just want to hit out a couple of these super chats. DJ, appreciate you. He gave us $10 based on these rankings and projections. Projecting forward, if we have the SEC 10-2 scenario, who is left out? And I think what he is asking when he's talking about the 10-2 scenario is just that mad scramble of teams being 10 so basically everybody 10-2. If everybody's 10-2, oh, good Lord. I think Tennessee would be out, unfortunately, because they don't have the metrics. I don't know. What do you think, Stephen?
I think in that scenario, Alabama's probably one of the teams that's safest.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Ole Miss as well. I would think if 10-2, I think we're kind of assuming what Texas A&M beats Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're in. So then it kind of comes up to what, like Texas, Tennessee, Georgia. Mike, something we should say too, and it kind of goes with this. The committee doesn't look at teams on the screen one versus one necessarily. They vote in clusters. So sometimes when we talk about like head to head, like it does matter, and it would certainly matter in this scenario too, but they're probably looking at the entire board. I don't know if that helps the situation at all, but when you're talking about like 10-2, I think Alabama, probably Ole Miss, Texas A&M if they win, and then you probably have to pick one of Georgia, Tennessee, or Texas at that point.
Gotcha. Harrison, he gave us a donation. Appreciate you, cousin. He said the committee knows about that LSU South Carolina game, just like Steven should. And then J-Dub, Go Big Orange. He says, committee been eating that CBD cornbread. You might be right there, J-Dub. Shout out to cornbreadhemp.com/SEC. And Brandon, appreciate you. In this bracket, I'd say the semifinal would be Ohio State, Oregon, and Ole Miss, Alabama. Lots of time left, though. What would be your quick predictions for the semifinals if this was the bracket, Stephen?
I like Ohio State and Oregon at the top there. Give me Ole Miss and give me Texas at the bottom.
Ooh. SEC versus Big Ted. I love it.
need to shake up the bracket a little bit to get some SEC spread them out so it's not all Big Ten teams and SEC teams top and bottom there. But I think the takeaway that I have from all this is that, to me, if you're Tennessee and you're worried about what happens if they lose to Georgia, if you're Texas, we're talking about they don't have the resume yet. It's all in front of them. Like, they can just win and take care of it. If Tennessee beats Georgia, all this becomes moot. If Texas takes care of business the next few weeks, it's like you're not leaving it in the hands of the committee, and that's the most important thing, I think.
Right. Oh, yeah. Final thing. So I want to say that because we've been, again, I've just been telling the truth, and Tennessee fans are up in arms, Stephen. They're like, my God, you can't leave us out.
Oh, I've seen it, Mike. Trust me.
But let's say in this scenario, I threw this out. Let's say Tennessee beats Georgia. They beat UTEP, obviously, but lose to Vanderbilt. I still think they're a lock because they've beaten Alabama, because they've beaten Georgia. No, I don't know that anyone will have two better wins than that. I think at 10-2 in that scenario, as long as you beat Georgia. So basically the point I'm trying to get across, you beat Georgia and obviously UTEP, which that'll probably be a 50-point spread. You're a lock to make the playoff. Would you agree or no?
I think I would agree with that, and especially because right now, Tennessee, Georgia, like if you're Tennessee and you beat Georgia, you're removing an obstacle that could be in your way.
Right.
Georgia's win over Texas is and especially the Clemson game too. They've got some good wins on that resume. So if you knock them down, you're removing one of those teams that's competing for a spot there. So I think Tennessee this weekend, I wouldn't go lock, but I think they would be inching pretty close to that if they beat Georgia and then take care of business against UTEP.
I'm locking it, Stephen, and you can't stop me. But all right, hey, I'm just kidding. But I do appreciate you, Stephen. I've been going for about an hour here, so I'm ready to cut it. But I do appreciate you hopping on here, giving me your quick reaction to these playoff rankings. Stephen will be back tomorrow, as usual, to give his predictions for the upcoming weekend of SEC action. That'll be tomorrow at 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 Central. So stay locked in on the channel. Appreciate each and every one of you. There's about 3,000 on here right now, Stephen, checking us out. So we do appreciate you. We'll catch you on the next one.